Hello and welcome to How Do You Cope with me, John Robbins. This is the show where I sit down with special guests to talk about the challenges they've overcome and the coping mechanisms they use in their everyday lives. Today's guest is the comedian Fatiha El-Ghorri. Fatiha started doing stand-up comedy after seeing an advert on the internet for a comedy and performance course. Since then, she has toured the country as part of the Super Muslim comedy tour, appeared on numerous TV shows, and was a contestant on Series 19 of Taskmaster. Fatiha is a Muslim and wears a hijab. She has spoken about challenging stereotypes people have of Muslim hijab women. She is bilingual, speaking both English and Moroccan Arabic, and has previously talked about bearing the weight of several identities in her comedy: British, Moroccan, Muslim and female. In 2025, Fatiha was diagnosed with stage 1 endometrial cancer and underwent a hysterectomy. She's now living with sudden onset medical menopause at 44. She's currently writing a book, The Perks of My Hijab, which will be published in February 2027, and is touring her show, Hackney Stacking Doll, around the UK. In our conversation, we spoke about growing up with 12 siblings, expectations of Muslim women on stage, and how people with hyphenated heritage can often struggle for a sense of belonging. We also talked about Fatiha's cancer journey and the impact of beginning the menopause in her 40s. Before we get started, don't forget that you can now watch every new episode of How Do You Cope on YouTube. Just search for How Do You Cope Pod, and you can, of course, listen to all your episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And please do hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more information or to get in touch, head to howdoyoupod.com. So it's a very warm welcome to How Do You Cope to Fatiha El-Ghorri. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Like when I was reading about you and reading interviews with you and watching clips, there's like so much to get into, but like the first thing I want to get my head around and find out about is, depending on where you look, you've either got 12 or 13 siblings.
Yeah.
Right? Which is it, and what on earth is that like?
So there's 13 of us all together.
Right.
So I have 12 siblings, but with me it's 13.
Okay.
So there's 8 girls and 5 boys.
So I don't think there's many people, certainly not like in the UK, who would say, I've got 12 siblings.
Yeah.
How did that affect you growing up, like positively and negatively?
It was nice because we grew up in a nice family home in terms of like all living together, everyone chipping in, everyone helping. It was so nice. At the time when I was growing up, you used to have dinner all together on the table. Not like now, half of you are in your bedroom on your phone, the other half are watching in front of the telly. Like it was proper dinner times, So it was nice. It was nice. The downside was it was just always busy. There was no quiet time. There's always something going on. My mum's always smacking someone for something. But it was fun. We used to like prank my dad and stuff. My older sister, she's like, you go in and distract him. And she went, one time she goes, you go and distract him. And she went under the table and painted his toenails, and we all got like massive smacks.
So, like whenever I look at a comedian's agency website, like if that agent has got 50 acts, I think, well, you're getting at best a week of their year in terms of attention. So you're not getting as much bang for your buck as an agent who's got maybe like 6 acts. Was that the case, that you sort of got less allotted time with your parents, or was there just sort of no one-to-one in that sort of scenario?
Yeah, you're right. I never really thought. I never thought of it like that. But you're right. There wasn't maybe a lot of time with my mum and dad, but because my siblings were around, where everyone was just looking after everyone. So you never felt like alone or neglected or anything like that. But yeah. No, but my dad used to make an effort. My dad, like, although there were so many of us, used to make a real effort, spend time with us. And we did, and the same with my mum as well. Bath time was always fun. She'd be reading us stories, brushing our hair and things like that.
So how do you bathe 12 kids?
So
I'm guessing there's a big age range there.
There is. So all my siblings are not all from the same parents.
Right, okay.
So my dad was married before my mum, and he had 8 kids with his wife, and then sadly she passed away. Then my mum was married before my dad, and she had 3 kids.
Okay.
And then she got divorced, and then her and my dad met. They got married. Then they came here. Then they had me and my younger sister.
Okay.
And that's how,
So that's like a mega blended
yes,
family.
mega, because we all grew up together. I never call them, I don't see them as my half brothers and sisters, because we all grew up together. So that I always say my siblings.
So your dad passed away when you were 6.
Mm.
Obviously, that's a huge impact to any 6-year-old, but to a family of that size, that's a huge loss.
Mm-hmm.
Could you maybe talk us through that process?
Yeah, so he had renal failure, which is to do with your kidneys. And then he got sick, and then he was in the hospital a lot, and we would go and visit him in the hospital and stuff. And then when he died at home. I remember him dying. We was all there. There wasn't like end of life care like there is now. Your only option was like home or what's it called?
Hospice or
Yes,
palliative
that's
care?
it.
Yeah.
So the options then are not like they are now. Back then it was either like home or hospice. And there was no, like if you want to die at home, they bring you morphine, they bring you all the drugs. There was nothing like that when it was my dad. And they offered to put him in a hospice, and he said, no, I want to die at home. So my mum was tending to him. And I remember the day he was dying, we had a family friend reading the Quran. It was weird, like you could over him. And it was weird. My dad, I felt like he wasn't there. He was like half in, half out. His eyes weren't his. It was really weird. And he was calling us up one by one and saying like, look after your mom, look after each other, your family, like, and stuff. And then it went blank for me after that. I just remember him not being there anymore. And it was really tough for my mom, because he did everything. He was the breadwinner. My mum did everything in the house. So it was really tough.
I mean, what did your mum do with that? Because that's such... She must have been so geared to being like a part of this family unit, of getting everything, getting dinner, getting people bathed, looking after people, sorting out fights and squabbles and stuff. So how did she progress through that?
I think it was tough for her, really tough. I think she tried her best, but it was tough. It was really hard, and she really loved him. We ended up moving house because she just couldn't live there. She's like, all these memories with your dad. So we moved from where we was living. That's when we did stay there quite a bit, because I was born and raised in Hackney, and we stayed there up until I was about 11, 12. And then we moved. She was like, I can't. I see your dad everywhere. They were so romantic. My dad would, like at that time, we didn't have mobile phones. If you said to someone, like, meet me here at 12, they would be there. It's not now, 5 minutes before they go, oh, sorry, bruv, I can't make it. And you're already there waiting. So my dad would be like, I'm coming home from work, be ready at 2. And we would be at the window waving at and then he would take her out, and they'd go on dates and stuff like that. And they just loved each other. They prayed together, everything. They just did everything together. And if my dad woke up and she wasn't in the bed, he'd start calling her, like, be like, Fatima. I'm like, why are you waking up the whole house? I got nursery tomorrow, bruv. Like, and stuff. So, it was really hard for her. And I think like, their love was special. I think he was the one for her and vice versa. So it was hard.
Did you find sort of that those male role models or father figures or that community within your siblings going forward, did your brothers take up on that role? Did they sort of, I guess, fill part of that space?
So when he passed away, the children from his side all ended up leaving. When he passed away, they just left because they were older.
Yeah.
They're older. I've got 3 siblings from my dad's side here in the UK. And the rest are in Morocco, and one has passed away. Yeah, they just left. So his children, but they were of the age of leaving home. So they left, and then one of my brothers from my dad's side stuck around, and I had my other brother from my mum's side. He was there as well, and my female siblings. So it was just tough. I didn't really ever feel I had a male role model. That's why I think I give off a lot of masculine energy now, because I'm like, I am the man and I am the woman.
Well, I don't know whether to talk next about comedy or about marriage.
Let's do marriage. Let's go in
Okay.
chronological
Yeah,
order.
So, well, you said there that you give off a masculine energy, and so you talked about like male figures in growing up. You were married twice and divorced twice. So what are your experiences of marriage? Did those marriages differ? What were the circumstances in which they came around?
So the first marriage was when I was 23, and it was an arranged marriage, but not a forced one. So what I mean by arranged is I say to you, for example, John, I've got a friend that I think you would get along with, and then I introduce you and you hit it off. That's what I mean by arranged.
Okay.
So, which people do every day, but when you say it's arranged and there's a Muslim involved, then Nigel Farage gets a hard on. Do you know what I mean?
So it's more like a blind date type vibe.
Yeah, kind of thing. And then you get on, and then there's something there, and you're like, oh, we met, and stuff. And then was with him for 5 years, and he was really bad. He was like a cheater, a drunk, an abuser, a liar, really bad. So I just left. And so the problem with this marriage is his sister is married to my brother.
Okay.
And that's how we met. So when I decided to end it, because I'd 3 times before the final, like before getting a divorce, I'd broken up with him and stuff. So when it was the final straw, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I ended up ending it, and then I ended up in a women's shelter because I just had to leave. And it was really difficult because like families involved, this is the problem. So like everyone's got their opinion. Obviously, I'm not telling them a lot of stuff that's happening because that's just the way I am. I just don't involve people because then everyone has an opinion and then nobody really listens. And I find this is a problem with why some women can't leave toxic relationships or dangerous relationships, because they come to you're their friend, they come to you, they say, I'm having this issue, the blah 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 blah, and then you're like, oh, you just need to leave him, oh, he's no good for you. But that's not what she's looking for. She's looking for someone to just listen. So then she feels like she's got no one to go to, so she can never leave that man, because she feels like she hasn't got any friends or anyone to confide in. Because if she comes to you and says, I want to leave him, you're going to go, I told you so, and all this kind of thing. It's like a vicious circle. So if someone comes to you and says they're having problems, just listen. Like if they're having problems in their relationship, just listen. Don't judge. Don't give your opinion on that the other person that they're in the relationship with. Just give that person time to tell you what they want to say.
So like keeping that confidence with that person that they can come and confide in you means that later down the line, when it's something really serious, they can still confide in you. So you're not making them think that they're going to be judged by you.
Yes, exactly. Honestly, I've got so many friends and family members. I hate their partners. They will never know, because it's important for me. I want to keep that relationship with that friend or family member. You know what I mean? Unless it's something in front of my eyes. Do you know what I'm saying? Then I'll get involved. But like, let them, because they have to figure it out. If you're leaving someone that's not good for you, they have to figure it out. It has to be their decision. And the only way you can help them is just by supporting them, by not being nasty, not giving your opinion, just let them figure it out. Just be there as a support.
And I guess you can say, if you ever do decide to leave someone, I will be there with you through that.
Exactly. And if you decide to go back, I'll be there as well.
Yeah.
Because it's not that easy, for people to just leave. And I had that too. I left and then I came back and then I left like twice. No, sorry, 3 times. And then the final time I ended up in a women's shelter.
So that's another reason it's very hard to leave abusive relationships, is because the onus is on the victim to leave.
Yeah.
And they are leaving their postal address. They may be leaving the place where their bank statements go to.
Yeah.
They're leaving, maybe their kids. It's hellish. So tell us about how you got to the shelter and what you found there and what that was like.
I was just like, this is it. I'm not doing this anymore. And I just walked out with the shirt on my back, and that was it. And then I went to the council to try and get help, like the council office, to be like, can you help me with anything? They were so bad to me. They were like, you need to get a job. I was like, I have a job. But I was working temping at that time. I was working in a hospital, and they were just so rude. They're like, you need to sort yourself out. I'm like, is this how you treat people like that are running away from something? Like, is this what you do? And then I ended up just staying on like night buses for like 3 nights, and then sitting outside like Liverpool Street police station and stuff, because I was like, oh, at least it'll be safe here. Like, there's police, no one will hurt me or anything like that. And then kept on going back to the council. And then I met this lovely lady once in the like working there, and she said to me, I'm going to see if I can get you into a shelter. And then she made some calls and she got me in. And then that was really difficult because like, so in the shelter, there's like everyone's got a different reason for being there. There are people that have addiction issues. There are people that are fleeing, domestic violence, abusive, people leaving cults as well, things like that. Then there are people that have just defaulted on their rent and have ended up there. There are people there's all sorts of people, people that maybe their kids have been taken away. So then they end up losing their home, all kinds of things, mortgage payments they couldn't keep up with. So it's not, because people think hostel and then they think, oh, it's just people with addictions, like, that's it. But I'm telling you, everyone, including you, is just one step away from being in a hostel. Your life can change like that. It's like, they say the line between life and death, and it's the same between having home and having a home and being unhomed. And it was really tough. That was the first time, like, just seeing all these different people. There was also women that have come out of care, so 18-year-olds, and they shouldn't have, to be honest with you, they shouldn't have been there. But it was really sad. I felt like we were invisible, like people didn't see us. It was horrible. You would get men standing outside asking you how much and things like that. I saw lots of like girls getting taken advantage of, not just by men, but like other women in the hostel. I saw women coming in there without addiction, and within 3 weeks, they was addicted to something. It's really difficult. It's a bit like prison. Not that I've been to prison. They've tried to put me there loads of times, but I always escape. No, I'm joking. It's a bit like prison, in like, you have to be very careful who you talk to, who you hang around with, and stuff, because that all it takes is for them to be like, I've got a bit of this, do you want to try it? And that's it, slippery slope. And I saw that happen. And there was also that, but there was also a sisterhood as well. Women coming together, helping each other, giving each other tips on, like, we used to get sandwiches. Pret a Manger used to give us like any sandwiches they didn't sell, they would bring it. There used to be a shop called Eat, but it's not around no more. I don't think it's around. I haven't seen any of their shops. They used to give us food as well, anything left over. And all the women would be like, okay, take all the cheese out and you can use that tomorrow, freeze the fish, all this kind, take it out, wash it and freeze it. And we all used to give each other like tips. We used to have organizations that would come to the hostel and give everyone like haircuts, manicures, just something to brighten your day. So there was that sisterhood as well, looking out for each other. We used to have a girl that used to always cook cakes and then like share it with everyone and stuff like that. So there was nice things, as well as like, when I was there, like 3 women got killed while I was there. A woman got raped right outside the front door, like all this kind of. So there was a balance. It was either really sad and horrible or really kind. It was either this or that. And I think it's a part of my life, like, I've never been able to talk about it on stage. I don't even mention it. Maybe because I'm not really over it, like, because it's hard, because although I'm out of that situation, but that world still exists. There are still women. I still see people that I know from the hostel begging. I still see sex workers from the hostel on the streets at night and things like that. So that, like, although I'm not in there, but that world still exists for a lot of women, and that's hard for me. because these women just get abandoned. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult.
So like just listening to you tell that story, I can like just sort of feel your strength. I can like just feel it in the way you talk, and just sort of like your energy. And to even ride a night bus for 3 nights, a lot of people would think, I can't do that. I've got to go back. And a lot of people do. And that's not from any weakness. It's from like, well, who wants to ride a night bus? You're in a lot of danger. You're putting yourself at risk through no fault of your own. Where do you think that comes from? And is that something you like actively work to maintain? Or have you always had that sort of sense of, maybe like confidence is the wrong word, but the courage to go, right, I'm going to do whatever is necessary to get out of that situation?
I think that first divorce taught me a lot. I think because like when I realized I was being like manipulated, not just by him, by his family and stuff. So I feel like he had a really terrible past, and they knew that, and they didn't tell me.
Right.
And stuff like he'd been married and divorced loads of times before. Not that there's anything wrong with married and getting married and divorced, because it, but it was through his fault, because he wasn't a good guy. Do you know what I mean? And so I just had enough. There was something, and then obviously like the family kind of imploding, because I was like, there's no one here for me. There's no one's like got my back. So I have to have my own back, you know? And it was just that change. I don't know what it was. It was that change. And I was like, I would rather be anywhere than be in this situation. And I know this might be a bit contrary to what you see on stage, but I'm not very confident. I don't have a lot of self-belief and stuff. But there was just something inside me, a little, like a seed that was like, I deserve better. I don't deserve this. I'm too good for this. Not the hostel, in terms of that relationship.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to get out of this at any and all costs, you know?
And is the process of divorce from an Islamic marriage different to the process of divorce elsewhere?
No. Well, sometimes it can be. So I had an Islamic marriage, and I also had because we're both Moroccan. So I had a Moroccan legal wedding, which is recognized here.
Yeah.
As well. Sorry, a marriage, which is recognized here. So Islamically, so to get divorced, we had to go to the Moroccan consulate and apply for it there, which was another faff in itself. We went there and I was like, and I spoke to the guys who deal with that, the registry, and I was like, I just want a divorce. Don't try to like fix this. This is the 3rd time we've been here. Like, don't try to resolve it. And they don't listen. They're like, what's the problem? They almost try to cancel you. And I'm counsel you, not cancel. And I was like, bruv, please, no. And obviously I didn't want to embarrass him and say this, and this. Do you know what I'm saying? But so yeah, that was a whole. They were like, oh, because they've tried to turn on the computer to start the paperwork, and then it wouldn't turn on. And then the guy at the registrar goes, maybe this is a sign from Allah that you should try again.
Wow.
And I goes, oh yeah, maybe it's a sign from Allah that you should pay your electricity bill on time. And then they were like, okay, here's your divorce.
So I think people listening so far will understand what I say when I say that as a stand-up, you're like quite a fascinating prospect. And you really took me by surprise when I first gigged with you, because I don't watch much. Like, I see clips every so often of people, but I don't go home after work and watch stand-up.
Yeah.
So I'd not seen your stuff, and it just made me realize so many of my assumptions about Muslim women, because we did a gig at Cadogan Hall, which is very sort of fancy, wealthy part of London, quite a storied venue. We met backstage, and you're very polite. We were all maybe a little nervous because it's quite a grand venue.
Yeah.
And I reckon in my head, I thought, okay, so I can kind of guess what this person's stand-up is going to be like. They're, very nice. You wear the hijab. I thought maybe there'll be some quite sort of gentle stuff about being a Muslim woman in London, maybe. And like nothing prepared me for how ballsy you were, how you commanded the stage, how rude you were. And I thought, I don't know Muslim women at all. Like, I have no idea. So you've said that what comes out of your mouth doesn't match the way you present. So maybe we could talk about why that is and what our expectations are, and maybe some of the challenges and successes you've had by confounding some of those expectations people have of Muslim women.
Okay, so that's so funny. So this is the problem with representation. I think the problem is, for me, and it's something I struggle with, is, so I'm a Muslim woman, but I've also got a personality. I'm Fatiha, I'm British, I'm East Ender, I'm Moroccan, I'm all these things. I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, a friend, whatever, like all these things. And when you look a certain way, because it's not just you that would think that, there was also, because so the question you've asked is like layered, on so many levels. Like, people want you to represent them, like my community, some of them want me to represent them in their way, what they think a Muslim woman should be like. And believe it or not, even they have their assumptions and stuff that they want it to look like and to be. So some of them hate me. They're like, you swear too much, you're this, you're profanity. But then they won't have a problem if it's a Muslim man doing it, so I'm like, you need to back right up and get out of my face, otherwise I'm going to do a 20-minute bit on you and your mum, and you're not going to like it, and
also I've couched that, and I'm kind of calling out my own prejudice, because I've seen you in a dressing room wearing a hijab, and I thought, okay, this is the comedy subject matter will be, you're obviously going to mention that you wear a hijab because it's so rare to see a comedian wearing a hijab. But actually, like, when I say I don't know Muslim women at all, I guess what I mean is I've not thought about any of the other areas of who you are in that dressing room. I've thought I'm going to witness a set about being a Muslim woman, which is not the case.
And I think that's normal, natural, because there's no representation. You, like you said, you haven't seen anyone else like me. And when they do have Muslim women on TV, they're not Muslim. It'll be actresses that they've put a hijab on. So yeah, it's not. And maybe you haven't had Muslim friends, and that's not a bad thing. We all grow up in different circles and things like that. The main thing is that when you meet someone that's different, you're open and friendly and nice to them, and which you was. So yeah, I don't know.
But like, so you get, well, let's imagine that gig. Let's imagine I'm comparing a show and there are 3 acts and they're all Muslim women. It would be such a different vibe in that dressing room, because I would not be thinking in terms of this person is pigeonholed as this. Like if I did a gig with 3 magicians, I would suddenly stop to see them as being like ticking some kind of like box of what I'm expecting in terms of a persona. So let's maybe talk about the pushback you get from different communities. And also the validation you get from different communities. So how have the responses to your comedy varied?
Yeah, they do vary. I get a lot of love, and from the community as well. I get a lot of love saying, "Oh wow, I love that you're representing us." And I don't know if you've seen, there's a rise in Muslim hijabi comedians coming up and stuff, because they've seen it's possible. But I have worked very hard. This has not been easy. Like, I was working 5 days a week and gigging 6. For 8 years I've done that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have done every club, the worst clubs in the country. People have threatened to, and people have waited for me outside, men, to fight me and things like that. Hecklers, I can deal with hecklers, and I'm grateful for that. My favorite gigs are like the pub ones that are rough. I just love it when it's rough. I love it. But sorry, this is a bit of a digression. So yeah, I get a lot of like obviously if you come to my gig, I swear to you, they'll be like, I did a gig once and there was like a row of gay guys at the front. Then there was the hood boys in the back, which whenever I did something they go brrrr, do you know? Then there was a line of hijabis over here. Then there was like a group of white ladies over here. Then there was like all these East End geezers over here. That is what my gigs look like. They're so mixed. You can't be like, oh, there's gonna be a lot of this or there's going to be a lot of Muslim women or this or that. They're so mixed, and I'm so grateful to be able to like touch that many people and for them to come and support me. And then but then you also get the other side of it, like especially stuff online, you know, like under this podcast we will have comments under the clips, and it'll be people going, oh John, why have you let her on, or on things like deport. I get that a lot. Someone the other day was like Sadiq Khan. I was like, what the fuck has TFL got to do with this? Like, I don't understand. I'm like, sorry, as a like one of the overground's been named after me, and I don't know, like, what is going on here? So yeah, that's difficult. Like the hate. I feel like, because I say this in my show, like I remember being in college and I did performing arts, and my teacher went round the class and she said, can everyone tell us their name? And everyone said their name. And when I said my name, she goes to me, oh my God, that's such a beautiful name. I can imagine it up in bright lights. And I gave her the dirtiest look, because I was like, that doesn't happen to me. Like, everything about me doesn't fit. Like, my name's too long and too complicated, and it's not easy, you know, to say or read. My weight is a problem. My body's a problem. My hijab is a problem. My ethnicity is a problem. Everything is a problem. I am a problem, you know. I don't fit anywhere. I don't have this place anywhere. And I've always felt that my whole life. And I still feel that now, because I'm born and raised here, and this is my country. And I guarantee you, those people that come in the comments or those people that don't like me, I promise you, I have given more to this country than they'll ever give. And I'm not even including taxes. Do you know what I'm saying? But then the Moroccans will be like, when I go to Morocco, they're like, you're not Moroccan, you wasn't born here, you're born outside, so you're one of them. So like, I don't really have a place anywhere. I always feel like a second-class citizen, no matter what. But then I feel a lot of love, you know, like doing these shows, and I can't get over these people paying to come and see me and giving up their time. I'm like, why are you here? Like, I don't know. Sorry, I've gone on a digression, lost my train of thought.
Do you find that identity or that wholeness that you don't get in Morocco, and people are trying to deny you in Britain? Do you find that in God? Do you find that in prayer?
Oh yeah, my faith is like really important, and that keeps me grounded. It's soothing, it's calming, it keeps me humble, keeps me strong, because we have this I don't know if it's a passage. We have in Islam you have the Quran, which is at the very top, which is the word of God. That's at the top, and then it conveyed, it's from God, but it came through the Prophet, peace be upon him, and then that's how the Quran came. It's all written in the Quran. Then after that you have the Sunnah, which is the practices of the Prophet. And then after that you have the Hadith, which is the stories of the people that were around the Prophet, and so their interactions with him and the things that they saw him do and say and things like that. So obviously the Quran is the top, trumps everything else.
When I worked in a bookshop, it always had to go on the top shelf.
Yes.
You weren't allowed to put anything above it.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
Which is a nightmare when you're trying to do things alphabetically, because you've got all of the Bibles and the other K's down at the bottom, and you're like, no, pop it up the top, the one exception.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and then so there's this saying that we have, that we get from our faith, and Allah says to us, like, what's meant for you will never miss you. Even if it's in the core of the earth, it will find its way to you. And sometimes if you think about something you really wanted, and you're like, I'll never get this, and then it comes, somehow, and you're like, wow, it's because it was always yours. Always. It always had your name on it, and it found its way to you. And then the other part of that is, if it's not meant for you, it could be on the tip of your tongue, and it won't be yours. And the example of that is when you're eating sometimes, and like something you put it in your mouth and it falls out. And then I always pick it up again because I'm a greedy bitch. And I try to eat it again and it falls out again because it was never meant for you. But look at how close it was, So I know what's mine will never miss me. That's why, like when I go into work, like opportunities and stuff like that, if I don't get them, I'm like, that's okay, that it wasn't meant. Something else will come. And sometimes we don't get stuff and it's a blessing, but you don't know until later down the line. And this is why we have this thing called like taqwa. Taqwa means the belief, believing in Allah, believing in the plan, believing in what's written for you. So my faith definitely, like, heavily. And I try to, like, sometimes people make me really angry and I try so hard, like, not, and I know you wouldn't think that with my stand up. Like, I don't take any shit though. Like, I'm not a dickhead, like, no, zero shit. But I always try to, like, resolve things, like, nicely. I'm always like, let me try to be, because in the Quran it says, I don't know if it's in the Quran actually, I think the Prophet says it, like, that people don't know Islam, but they know it through you. Because you are the representative, kind of. So you need to behave in an Islamic manner, So I always try to keep that in mind in the way that I'm, so I try not to be like, I try to have patience. Patience is a big thing. Sabr in our faith is massive. So I always try to have patience with people, with myself, not just, but it's not, like when I say people learn about Islam through you, it's not an act. You need to feel it. There are some people that pray 5 times a day, fast. I do. I have, sometimes I pray and then I stop, and then I pray and I stop. But they do all the prayers, they fast, they do the pilgrimage, they do everything, but they are so unkind. Do you know what I mean? And it becomes like they do it because they feel that they have to, but you have to do it because you want to. Do you know what I mean? There has to be that connection. For me, it has to be, I have to do it because I want to, because I love it. You have to understand it's a way of life. It's not just, oh, I've done my 5 prayers, tick. That's not it. It has to feed into everything, the way you behave, the way you talk, the way you do business, the way you deal with people, everything. That's how I see it. It can't just be, it's not transactional. That's another thing. People pray because they want to get stuff. And I'm like, that's not how it works. You have to have the connection with God. It's not, so for me, it's very, like, praying is so special to me. I just feel like it's such a nice, you do it 5 times a day. And for that 5 minutes, that's your, it's not even 5 minutes, to be honest with you. That's just like your time. And there's such a beautiful connection. I connect with my mind, my body, my soul. It's just such a beautiful thing for me.
So you say that people know Islam through you.
Yes.
But I guess we're the same age, so, I've been around and seen the enormous rise in Islamophobia over the past sort of 25 years. So people will think they know Islam. And I guess even the most, like, and perhaps even more so, a liberal-minded person listening will think, Islam is repressive towards women. They might be hearing you thinking, why isn't she, rising up? Why isn't she sort of fighting against this? She's been indoctrinated. They might have all these thoughts around what Islam's relationship with women is.
Yeah.
If there's something you wish people understood about Islam that often you find they don't, what would some of those things be?
So one of the things would be, for me, it would be hijab. So the hijab in Islam is compulsory, as it is in other faiths. Like, hello, nuns. Like, they never go for the nuns. It's always it's always the Muslims. It's compulsory. However, the Quran, Allah says to us, like, there is no compulsion in religion, in the sense that you shouldn't be forced to do something. So although it is prescribed for us as women, you shouldn't be forced to do it, because it's a responsibility, and it's a choice as well. And that's another thing I would say to people. It is my choice to wear this. It is none of your business what a woman chooses to wear or not wear. If you support a woman, if I want to wear hijab, then a woman has to be able to wear a mini skirt or a bathing suit or whatever. That's how women's rights work. That's how all rights work. If you want to be able to dress how you want to be, then everyone has to be able to dress how they want to be. So the biggest takeaway from this for people listening is mind your business. Let people wear whatever they want to wear and mind your business. And don't ask women, why do you wear the hijab or something like that. If you want to know, just say like, I'm really interested. And it's okay to ask questions. I like it when people ask questions, because I'd rather you come to the source than read it up online and read something that's not true. So if you're interested, just ask. It's okay. Like, but don't be like, why do you wear it? Just
So
be
like,
I'm really...
could you tell me about the hijab?
Yeah,
what does it mean?
Exactly like you said. And like everyone, like what you said about biases and stuff, and like everyone has those, and even I have them. Everyone has them. But the main thing is when you're confronted with maybe your bias, you explore it and you try to understand it and see it from a different point of view. And that's where growth happens and learning. Do you know what I mean? But it's okay. Don't be ashamed to have these biases. This is normal. But it's when you clock yourself having it, it's questioning yourself. That's the important bit.
But I think it's just really, it's another element of your multifaceted existence, which is interesting, because I watched a clip yesterday of you on Taskmaster, and one of the prizes you bring in is a prayer mat.
Yes.
And you like basically say to Greg, good luck, mate. Yeah. And it's so cool. I mean, crikey Moses, if there wasn't enough to talk about, you shared, just about a year ago, you shared details of your cancer diagnosis and treatment in an Instagram post. And I thought maybe I could read that post, because it really sort of, stopped me in my tracks when I read it. But it's also very direct. It's very you, the way that you've spoken. So maybe if you're happy for me to read it, we can then talk about what happened. So you say, a year ago on the 7th of February, I was at a gig waiting to go on stage when I got a call from my GP. He was calling me regarding results from a test I'd had the week before, a transvaginal scan, an internal scan of my womb. He said that the scan showed something abnormal in my womb and I would need to go for further tests urgently. I was sent for another 2 tests, an MRI and a hysteroscopy. When the results were back, I saw a consultant who told me that the test didn't show anything abnormal, but from the initial scan they suspected cancer, so he recommended I have a precautionary hysterectomy. He said it's possible that it isn't cancer, but the only way we could know for sure is if I had the operation. I agreed to have the operation. I had the hysterectomy on the 12th of May 2025. I decided to have my ovaries removed too, because I knew that if it was cancer and I still had my ovaries, I'd need chemo and possibly more surgery. I went into surgery at 2:30 p.m. and woke up at 7 p.m. the next day. I woke up in menopause. It was a forced medical menopause. I had a follow-up appointment with a consultant on the 11th of June where he confirmed that I had cancer. It was stage 1 endometrial cancer. Thankfully, I didn't need chemo, further treatment or surgery because it had not spread beyond my womb, so they were able to remove it all. The consultant referred me to a menopause clinic and said I would be seen in about 2 weeks' time. I got an appointment letter in August for an appointment in December. The toughest and most painful part of all of this is the menopause. I have had an organ removed and I've lost vital hormones overnight. It's been so difficult. People think menopause is hot flushes and mood swings, but it's so much more than that. It's low mood, vaginal dryness to the point where it's painful, change in appetite, dry skin, change in hair, depression, memory problems, to name just a few. Also, symptoms differ from person to person. I was going out of my mind while I was waiting for the menopause clinic appointment. I was crying every day. I was depressed and sad. I felt lost. I felt stuck in my mind and body. There was no help for me. I was alone and abandoned. I kept on calling them to chase my appointment, and they just kept on telling me to wait. I couldn't wait any longer, so I ended up going private for my menopause care. I wasn't able to have HRT because I'd had cancer, so instead the doctor recommended supplements of vitamins that have really helped me. I'm still healing physically and hormonally, but thankfully, I'm doing much better. So that's a lot for an Instagram post, and that's a
Yeah.
lot for a person to go through. So where do you want to start with that? Because it feels like the cancer part of that story is, it's quite a success. They caught it early. You made the right choice. You got the right advice. The cancer didn't spread. But like quite a few people I've spoken to who've had a cancer journey, it's the treatment which has changed everything.
Yeah.
So should we talk about the menopause more so than the sort of the cancer element of it? Because I think what you say there, I woke up in the menopause.
Yeah.
And I know menopause can be extremely traumatic when it's happening very naturally. But I'm guessing at some level, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're getting a progressive, like you're getting walked through what the symptoms are going to be, and you have time to prepare. Talk to us about that experience of just waking up suddenly a menopausal woman.
Yeah, mad, like crazy. It is. You're right. If when you're going through menopause, with not a forced one, it's a gradual change. And you get to try things maybe along the way. You get to try HRT depending on your circumstances. You get, you can try supplements. You can try natural stuff. I didn't have that. It was like this is it now, and you just have to work it out. So even your body's in shock because you're just like you've had this thing that you need just taken away. It affects so much. It affects your bones, your joints, like I said, your hair, your skin, your ears. Now I've got like a leaky eye all the time because of it. I'm getting some stuff. I have to go and see an ear specialist because I'm having some problems with my ears. That's all menopause. Frozen shoulder. I've had that for months, and that's a side effect of menopause.
And they want you to wait 5 months.
Yeah.
Like, that's just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah. And this is one of the hardest things for me as well about that post is that there was women commenting. I didn't expect it to get as much traction as it did. And because I just wanted to share my story because I wanted to talk about it on stage. And I wanted to make sure my side of it was out there. I didn't want anyone to speculate or anything like that. So that's why I wrote that. But the most heartbreaking thing for me is that loads of women in the comments were saying, I've had the same thing. I haven't even had a follow-up. I've never seen a consultant. I just had the operation and I was sent home. Like, what is going on? Like, and then I think about me that's that can advocate for myself, even though sometimes I find it really difficult. But at least I can. And I think about the women that can't advocate for whatever reason, whether it's they're shy, they've never been, they don't know how to speak up, they don't know what to say. Because when they tell you, if a doctor tells you something, or if someone, a specialist in whatever, if a policeman said something, you'd be like, okay, because you trust them, they've got that position of power. You're like, okay, yeah, like you don't want to argue or push back. And then the women that don't speak English, the women as well, and I'm like, what the hell? There's all these women like suffering in silence. And then, because people take the piss out of menopause that, like I said in that post, oh, it's hot flushes and mood swings. I'm like, I wish it was just that. I never got hot flushes. I used to sweat from my scalp, which is crazy. So I'd be sitting here and it would just be running down my face. Have you seen that meme, the airplane meme where the guy's the film Airplane and he's just like sweating? That's what I was like. And and I could smell it. It was such a weird thing. It wasn't offensive, but it just smelled of me and it would just come down my face like this. I'd sweat from my scalp uncontrollably. So everyone has these different things, but it's just, more research goes into erectile dysfunction and male balding than it does to menopause. 51% of the population suffer with menopause. And that's where they put their money.
But there's a lot I don't understand about that. But if you're having the cancer specialist, the cancer information is so good. Like there's people telling you exactly what your choices are, exactly what's going to happen. Why is the Why is the rest of it not tagged on with that level of care and level of quality and level of rigor?
Mm-hmm.
Why do these experts' job end there? Why are you not, I just, like, if I had my testicles removed and it was affecting my joints, my mood, my hair, my skin, my brain,
Yeah.
like if I was getting depressed, I'd be like, you fuck am I waiting 5 months? Are you mad?
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like it's a life-saving exercise. That's all it is. They're like, oh, we've done the surgery. You're out of danger. Goodbye. Next. That's what I feel like it is. They've saved your life. Like, you're okay now. You have to deal with it.
So what have you learned about the menopause and what has worked for you, and what was because you had to go private to get any kind of decent timeline.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Was it good?
Yes. I was listened to. I was heard. I couldn't have HRT at the beginning. Now it's past a year. I've started taking a low dose. So I'm on a low dose. I can feel a little bit of a difference, but I'm being monitored by the private specialist.
Is that because there's a connection between HRT and cancer?
Yes. So at the beginning I couldn't have it. Yeah. It's not that there's a link between HRT and cancer. It's some cancers respond to estrogen. So they're estrogen fed.
Right.
So if you take estrogen after the operation, it can grow cancer somewhere else,
right?
Like in your breast or anywhere else, and stuff. So that's why you have to be a bit careful.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have it for the first year, and now I'm on it because it's only been a year since I had the operation in May, so it's just gone a year. May last year. So now I'm on it. I'm on a low dose. We're just seeing how it goes. Because HRT isn't for everyone. I know people that have gone on it and have become suicidal. So then they have to come off. There might be a problem with the dose. It might be the type of HRT that you're taking. There's loads of different types. There's the patches. There's the gel. There's different types. So it's about working out what works for you with whoever's, overseeing it all.
What are the small differences that you found that made, and what are some of the differences that the vitamins and supplements made?
Energy, and low mood. Definitely. I had some deficiencies. I had blood tests, and I had like deficiency in like folic acid and vitamin D. So I've been taking those, and as soon as they started to kick in, I felt so much better. With the HRT, like my knees are really bad. My hair is crazy bad. As I've started taking HRT, I've started to feel a slight difference. You feel, now I've got like this weird feeling. I feel like, when they show in cartoons, they put like cement in one of the, I don't know, dog's boots or something like that. That's what it feels like trying to walk like that. I struggle with like stairs, with inclines, going up and down stairs as well. I had to start doing it because when I had the operation, because it's along your belly, I've got like 5 cuts. It was done with a robot. So there's like 5 cuts. Like going up and down stairs was a nightmare. I used to have to do it backwards. And people would see me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, this is the only way I can do it without hurting myself and stuff. So yeah, but now my legs are like really heavy. It just feels so heavy all the time. Like I just feel, it's a yeah.
So if someone listening to this is having an operation or is likely to be quite suddenly introduced to menopause, what would you say?
I would say there's lots of support services out there. If you feel your care provider isn't giving you what you need, there are loads of support places out there. There's a place called Peaches, which deals with menopause and cancer. There's loads. So reach out to them. There's a whole system of people that we all, like women, and we all support each other and help each other. They can guide you where you can get like really good advice and help. Don't feel you're alone. It's really isolating, because it's only happening to you. Only you know what's going on. You see the difference in yourself. Like the brain fog is crazy. Like going back on stage was so hard for me, and I still struggle with it now. I can be in the middle of a set and just forget what I'm saying. Like just forget what the next bit is, something that I've written myself and that I know and have been saying for so long, and it just goes. And I don't, like obviously as comedians we can ad lib. You have to be, we're on all the time when we're on stage. I can't even do that. When I get that blank, I can't do that. Like like now, if you ask me, I could make a joke out of this cup, you know, like that. But when I get that brain fog, I'm just like, it's like a deer in headlights. You can't. It just goes. There's nothing I can do. I just have to wait it out. Like, and like it's really hard on stage with everyone looking at you.
It's so hard. I mean, you do gigs and you trip over a line and you think, well,
Yes.
that's fucked it.
Yes.
That's ruined that joke. They've lost confidence in me. So to have to go, sorry guys, I've just forgotten.
Yes.
Because also it reminds them that you're even remembering something.
Yes.
Because to them it's like, they're just saying this for the first time, aren't
Exactly.
they talented? Aren't they clever to just come up with all this stuff?
Exactly. They're looking behind the curtain and you're like, oh.
So like we're coming to the end of this
Yes.
chat. It's been amazing to talk to you. And I think what connects all of those different elements we've talked about, your faith, your marriage, your family, comedy, cancer, menopause, you seem to have, I know you said you're not particularly confident and you're not particularly, you don't find it easy to advocate for yourself, but you do seem to have at each juncture really been able to like demand what you deserve. And I know so many people listening will struggle with that enormously, especially when it comes to abusive relationships, especially when it comes to healthcare, women's healthcare. So if there were any tools or any tips or advice you could give people listening who struggle to demand what's best for them and sometimes are so like indoctrinated to not being given what they deserve that they even forget to ask for it.
So I think it's a self-esteem issue. And I think I would say to them, you are worth it. Like, this is your body. You're not asking for something that is extraordinary. You're not saying, can you get me the diamond, that ruby thing from the Titanic? Like, do you know what I mean? You're not asking for the king's crown. You're just asking for something that you are entitled to and that you're worth having. Like, these are basic needs and basic things, and you deserve it. It's okay to ask. And I think also when you're going into maybe difficult situations or conversations, don't forget or remind yourself what it is that you want, and always say to yourself, they're gonna push back. They're gonna push back. So when they do, what do? You re-emphasize what you need. So like have these plans maybe as to what, like if they say this, I just need to make sure I go back with what I want to say.
I think that's so true, to prepare yourself so that you don't find yourself improvising.
Yes.
Because it's so easy then to just sort of please or please the people in the room or, take the line of least resistance.
Yes.
But even to the extent of writing things down.
Yes.
When you're going into a conversation with whether it's a partner or someone in a support services or your GP.
Yes.
Write down the simple statements about what you want.
Yes.
And I'm not going to leave until I get them.
Yes, exactly. And you can, you can have it on your phone or like you said, a piece of paper, and just keep on saying to the doctor, oh, there was something, whoever you're talking to, oh, sorry, I don't want to forget what I want to say, so I'm just checking here. And you don't have to read it out like a story. Just have maybe points or read it as a story if you're comfortable, but just remember that. Remember why you went in there, and if they say no, then go back. Like if you're not getting, it's not like, people just want to be heard. Do you know what I mean? People want to be heard, and if the answer is no, if at least you've been heard. Do you know what I mean? When it's difficult when you feel like you're not being heard or listened to or not being taken seriously and stuff, and that's when you can start to feel angry or shitty about yourself. So yeah, don't forget, just go back, prepare that there might be resistance and go back, like get ready to kind of like go back. You don't have to be aggressive or anything. You can just say, oh, but I'm really not feeling well, or I'm really not, I'm feeling this and I'm finding it really difficult. I'm struggling. Like, that it doesn't, we don't have to be rude or anything like that,
Well, Fatiha, thank you so much for joining us. It's been amazing. And tickets are still available for Fatiha's tour, Cockney Stacking Doll. Dates are online. Check out Fatiha's website. And I'll also give links in the introduction to this. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was my chat with Fatiha El-Ghorri. To be honest, we could have made 5 episodes, each focused on individual challenges Fatiha had faced. And I was interested to address some of my own preconceptions, how even in preparing my questions, I've focused on Fatiha's religion over all the many other facets of her personality. That said, I love the way she talks about faith and wish more Muslim women had their voices amplified while talking about their religion. And I'm so impressed by how resilient she has been in so many very challenging situations. I hope you enjoyed listening. I'm delighted that Fatiha is joining me again on Thursday for our bonus podcast, The Gratitude List, where she'll be talking me through the 5 things she's grateful for. So if you want to get in touch with the show, then send your thoughts and reflections to hello@howdoyoupod.com. Your messages are always so lovely to receive. And you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at howdoyoucopepod. Plus, don't forget, all new episodes of How Do You Cope are now on YouTube, so watch and subscribe there. How Do You Cope is a significant production. See you next time.